Hey y'all, thanks for tuning into another piping hot serving of sugar-free honest tea. I'm your host, Erin. So today I'll be talking about the final installment of my story, where I'll talk about treatment and how I've started integrating this whole cancer thing into my life. So if you missed parts 1 and 2, please make sure to go check those out. The first one I just talked about kind of what started me on this journey of starting this blog, starting medical school, and starting a practice eventually. And then in part 2, I covered my diagnosis and how that went about and why it's really important to have a good primary care physician and to have a good doctor-patient relationship. Today, I'll be talking about my treatment, and so we can just jump into that, I guess. The thing about that is it is very hard for me to remember what was going on. Most of my treatment went pretty well. Actually, the whole thing went well because I'm here today. But it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. And to have done it at such a young age, now my brain is kind of like, oh, I don't remember. And when I share with people that I am a cancer survivor, they're like, oh, wow, you're so awesome. You're so strong. And it's like, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. However, children are very resilient. So, yeah, there's a lot that I just don't really remember. So I was diagnosed with osteogenic sarcoma when I was 8 years old, and I spent about a year and a half in the hospital receiving chemo. I got a reconstructive knee surgery that was pretty in-depth, and came out on top, 18 years cancer-free. So, just talking a little bit more about treatment, that was a really difficult process, and it was something that I think because it was so traumatic and so hard, people tried to shield me from it. I didn't really understand at the time what was happening. I didn't understand what cancer really was. So I just knew I was sick. I knew I couldn't go to school, and I knew my hair was falling out and I was in the hospital all the time. And so I was mostly sensitive about the fact that people kept calling me a boy when I was clearly a girl. And I don't think it really hit me what was going on until someone that I knew who was also receiving treatment at the same time as me died. That really shook me, and it wasn't somebody that I was super close to, but at the same time there's like this unspoken bond that you share with everyone that's on the unit, and when they're not there anymore, it definitely affects the dynamic, and it affects everyone's morale. And so that was not the only time that something like that happened, but the first time that happened, I was like, whoa, that could be any of us. And so that was kind of a sobering truth to learn at that age. And I feel like knowing people who have died from cancer, whether that was from a childhood cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, any of it, cancer sucks, and understanding that at such a young age, I feel like is what propelled me to want to do what I'm doing now. And so I'm hoping that I can make those people proud. And hopefully they're watching me like you guys are. Not the same, but still. Yeah, that has been something that really is always in the back of my mind when I feel like I don't want to do this anymore, which is a lot of days, or I'm really feeling discouraged about school, is to remember, remember that there are people's lives who I'm going to affect and I don't even know it. And that might not even be in the realm of like me doctoring. That could be in, me just living my everyday life and sharing my story with others. So I am being more open to that. But as I was saying, treatment was mostly either me sleeping or me throwing up. I wasn't willing to accept the fact that I was sick. And so I was trying to do everything as though that wasn't happening. Like my hair was falling out, and there was like this one piece at one point that I was like, do not touch it, because if you touch it, it's gonna fall out. And my parents were like, just, let me just take it out. It's fine. It's okay. But like, to me, that was admitting that something was different, and I just did not want that. And that was after about 3 or 4 treatments, which I'd done really well with. My doctors were actually really impressed, because normally the first couple of treatments really knock people out, but I was recovering pretty quickly until about the 4th or 5th treatment. I'm not really sure which one. They changed the medicine to something more powerful, and that one really knocked me out. I was throwing up a lot. I was sleeping most of the time. I did not have any kind of strength. And I think I was in the hospital for about a month with that one. And normally I would get out within the week. And I considered that, like, that was the norm for me. And to have to stay there for that long and be that sick was really difficult. Not to mention, it was getting closer and closer to my birthday, and I was afraid that I was going to be in the hospital on my birthday. But I did get out maybe like a day or 2 before, and that was the same day that we went ahead and let that last piece of hair go. And I think, celebrating my birthday, it was just my immediate family. I think my mom, my dad, my little brother, and my grandmother were there. And I remember that being a really joyous time. I was just so glad to be out of the hospital. But now looking back on it, I'm not sure if my parents were afraid, I don't know if they were thinking, how many of these does she have left? Thankfully, I've had several, but I can only imagine, what they must have been thinking and going through. And at the same time, they were really shielding me and making sure that no matter what happened, that I didn't feel alone. And I just think that had such a tremendous impact on the course of my treatment and me being able to get through it. And them also having support from our church, from other family members, people traveling to see me to make sure they were okay. That was all really integral in me surviving. And I don't think I'll be able to thank everyone enough, even with this blog, who wrote me letters or who came down to see me or gave me gifts. There were a lot of people, and like when they say it takes a village, that's a real thing, whether your kid is healthy or your kid is sick. But I really did see a village come out and help to get me through a really, really trying time. So that being said, I am hoping to contribute back to said village in whatever ways I can, and hopefully the knowledge that I learn here in naturopathic medical school will help me to be able to give back to the community and really impact people's lives in a very positive way. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please make sure you follow me on social media, _honest_tea, and like this video, share this video, connect with me in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.